Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting a like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Well, let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from MMDJT, who says, I 21 male am worried my alpha male friend 23 male is stealing my girlfriend 20 female. What do I do? So me and Vince have been friends for about 3 years, since I started uni. He's always been way better with girls than me, but could never hold down a relationship. No point in going into details, but he's rich and he's definitely a bad boy type. He's a good friend, he's generous and fun to be around. However, he's a bit arrogant, and if I'm honest, I'm pretty jealous of him. He has an air of confidence and mystery to him, and girls love it, including my girlfriend, Tia. Apparently. I've been dating Tia 9 months. She was a friend of a friend and we met at a party. Since we're in the same social circles, she knew who Vince was before we got together, but not very well. Now Vince is over my house often because he needs to see my housemate a lot, and Tia is also over here a lot. Vince has told me he likes Tia and thinks she's good for me, and Tia seems to like Vince a lot. Vince is flirty with pretty much all attractive girls, but I guess I notice it more with my own girlfriend. He touches her, hugs her, etc. Tia seems in awe of Vince. She hangs to his every word and seems fascinated by his stories. Vince dresses to reflect his wealth and wears nice shoes and watches, etc. Since she's known Vince, she tells me how much she likes his style and tried to pick me out some things when we went shopping. But I'm a poor student, so I can't afford anything like that. Vince also has a nice car and she wishes I would get a car, but I can't afford one at the moment. I think she fancies Vince, or at least has some sort of crush on him. One time we were planning on going to a football match in a group, including Vince. She seemed eager to go, despite not being into football, until Vince dropped out and suddenly she lost all interest in the idea. One time, Vince was seeing a girl and brought her over to my house. Tia was nice to the girl but acted a bit weird and refused to go out with us in the evening, saying she was ill despite being fine earlier. She reacted pretty happy when I told her he stopped seeing her. After all this, I decided today I would straight up ask her if she has a crush on Vince. She said of course not. She said her behavior around him was because she found him intimidating, not because she was attracted to him. I'm not sure I buy it though. I don't really want to bring this up with Vince because he will probably accuse me of being paranoid. She seems less into sex now than she was at the start, but otherwise our relationship is still good. I don't really know how to handle all this. Do I talk to Vince or not? How do I know if Tia is telling me the truth? Am I just paranoid? Arxie says, I would just start spending more dates out of your apartment and away from Vince, and some special adventures with you and your girlfriend. It sounds like you have gotten more comfortable in the relationship, so mix it up. It doesn't sound like Vince is making any advances on your girlfriend, so even if she has a crush, it will fade if they spend less time together. I don't think you need to talk to Vince directly, and your girlfriend now knows her behavior around him and has made you uncomfortable and will hopefully take steps to get over any feelings she may have. Don't let your insecurity drive you to jump into conclusions. I think you have some valid points, but nothing extreme. Crushes can happen while in a relationship, and it just means you both need to refocus your energy on each other. OP responded saying, that's a good idea. I suppose we haven't been doing enough together lately. It's probably true that I'm looking too much into Vince's actions. Indil says, a person does not steal another person. The second person willingly leaves, and if they willingly leave a relationship, it wasn't as good as a relationship as you originally thought. Bill says, your girlfriend wants to fuck Vince. Vince is just being Vince. Like you said, he does this with everyone. He's not trying to steal your girlfriend. Lots of people on this sub talk about blah blah blah. Crushes can happen in relationship, like it's not a problem you can't fix. To me, it's absolutely a deal breaker. If my partner doesn't feel a strong enough bond with me that she's not interested in other guys, I don't want her as a partner. If you can deal with knowing that your girlfriend wants Vince's dick inside her, then feel free to continue the relationship. I sure wouldn't. String of numbers says pretty much this. There's always going to be Vince around in life, even if you literally try to avoid them forever. It's on the girlfriend to not blatantly crush on him and be flirty. You can't force her to not to, or give an ultimatum of stop flirting with him or we break up. There's nothing you can or should do to stop it. To me, this relationship is already over. If Vince wanted to date Tia, it is very obvious she'd break up with you to do so, because you're letting her behavior slide. Her respect is dropping for you fast, and eventually it will be gone completely and she will dump you. I've been in Tia's shoes before as a guy, and it was really selfish and immature, and she knows what she is doing. If you broke up with her, I guarantee she would freak out and try to retain the relationship, but it doesn't mean she's lost feelings for Vince. It only means she's scared of losing you because Vince might reject her anyway. Then she's left with no one. It's just selfish monkey branching. You brought it up before, but didn't resolve anything. Actions speak louder than words, and of course she's going to tell you she isn't crushing on him, but all of her actions point towards that. Her actions point towards wanting to get with this other guy. You have to set clear, unspoken boundaries for yourself. Are you okay with a girlfriend obviously flirting and crushing on a guy, or is it a deal breaker? If you bring it up, are you willing to go through with maintaining your boundaries, or would you let her break them and make up excuses for why? Not only will this make crap like this easier to deal with in future relationships, but it'll make you more desirable too. If girlfriend knows you're 110% not putting up with shit like this, and you won't let them squeak around your boundaries, it makes you way more attractive. Kelly says, given your account of things, I'd say it's pretty clear Tia has some interest in Vince. I agree with others that spending more time with your girlfriend away from Vince one-on-one is a good idea. Try not to bring up Vince in conversation and not focus so much on him as a potential threat to your relationship. If your relationship is strong with Tia, you shouldn't have to worry about him. So OP updated the post and they said commenters were pretty split on if I should break up with her or not, but I definitely wasn't going to do that without trying to fix things first. I decided to take the advice of one commenter and take her on more dates and get her out of the house. It was a good idea and it seems to have made us closer. One time we're in bed together and she left to go to the toilet, leaving messages open with one of her friends. I couldn't resist. I scrolled up until I got to a bit where they were discussing their love lives. She said, "My name has been so sweet lately and I can't keep my mind off Vince." A friend then asked if she would get with Vince if given the chance. Tia said, "Obviously I like him, but I couldn't do that to my name." A friend asked, "What are you going to do?" Tia said, "I hope it just goes away naturally, but I see him so often I'm not sure it will. I think my name knows as well." My friend then told Tia that it wasn't her fault she had a crush, but she needed to stop before she cheated. Tia then said, "I love my name more, it's just confusing," and that was it. I decided to approach the topic with Tia. She admitted to having a crush on him and we agreed to try to spend less time at my house so that we see him less. Obviously, I'm hurt, but I think we can get through it. After reading her messages, I'm confident she won't cheat and hopefully, if we work on us for a bit, her crush will go away. I also decided not to talk to Vince since it seems like this was mostly Tia's problem, though his attitude around her obviously helped develop the crush. I'm still worried that I'll never be good enough for Tia. I can still picture her hanging on to his every word while he tells one of his stories where he comes across as infinitely cooler than me. I could never be like him and it sucks that she finds that sort of person attractive. Oh well, I don't think she's a bad person. I just hope we can work through it. Thanks, Reddit. Now, how would you feel in a situation like this? There was a lot of comments below that update and, they were going both ways saying, this would be a deal breaker for them. Other people saying, it was a mature conversation and they seem to be moving in the right direction. Yeah, and it's going backwards and forwards on that. But what are your thoughts on this situation? I was ready to move on to another story then, and I just clicked on the post history and then I noticed there was another post from OP who said, "My 21 male girlfriend, 21 female, wants to go to a gig alone with a guy, 24 male, she previously admitted to having a crush on. Should I let her go?" So OP said, "My girlfriend and I have been together a bit for over a year. I posted about this guy and my girlfriend before. You can read my old post for some context. But the gist of it is basically I have an attractive rich friend, Vince, that my girlfriend Tia admitted to having a crush on a few months back. But we agreed to work through it and the feeling she had for me was stronger. I'm still insecure about it though because girls fall head over heels for him and I'm kind of average. However, after doing more stuff together and getting out of the house more, she doesn't see so much of him. He's at my house quite often to see my housemates. Tia also basically stopped talking to him and avoiding him wherever possible. This led to Vince approaching me and asking if he had done anything to upset her. And because we were drunk, I ended up telling Vince that Tia used to have a crush on him. He didn't make a big deal of it and he said he had no idea. But since then, It seems like he's sort of going out of his way to be flirty with her. I don't know if I'm just seeing things or he's testing boundaries or what. Maybe he's just being more chatty with her now that he knows he didn't do anything wrong. He's a naturally flirty person, but kind of went out of his way to speak to Tia, and now they've gone back to how they used to be together. Kind of flirty and cute. He pats her on the head when he walks past her and playfully pokes her and stuff, though he's kind of like this with all girls. So on to the current issue. They are both fans of grime music, one artist in particular. Vince had bought tickets to go see him in a nearby city with a friend, but the friend couldn't make it, so he asked Tia if she would like to go with him, as they are both fans. I really do not want her to go. They've never spent much time one-on-one, and the thought of them going out drinking together makes me feel sick, especially because they have to get a hotel together unless they get the train, which Vince will never do. He's already approached me and asked if it would be okay with me. He said that he would never disrespect me, and he only asked her because he knew she would be thrilled to see the artist. And she is. Tia really wants to go. She told me she has no interest whatsoever in Vince anymore and only wants to go for the music. She said she'd get a separate hotel room and not get drunk. I just want to tell her no, but I'll look really controlling and pathetic if I say she can't go. My housemates know about the gig because Vince and Tia have been talking about it, but they don't know that Tia ever had a crush on Vince, so if I tell her no, I'll look really bad. I don't know what to do. On the one hand, I mostly trust her because she's been open with me and has actively tried to stop her crush. I don't really trust him though. He will almost certainly drink too much and take a lot of drugs. I just don't want them together in that situation. But he's always been a good friend to me, and I don't want Tia to resent me for stopping her to do something she really wants to do. So yeah, I'm pretty stuck. Should I just suck it up and let her go, or tell her she can't? But what do you guys make of this one? That is where this ended, unfortunately. We never got any further updates on that one. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from a throwaway account who says, "Am I the arsehole for leaving my sister's wedding early because she kept my husband out of pictures? My 31 male, sister Anne, 34 female, got married on Saturday. My husband of 7 years, Mark, 32 male, was there with me, and up until one point, it was an amazing evening. After the ceremony, Anne wanted a picture with all of our siblings. There's 5 of us and their respective partners, so we started lining up. When Anne saw that my husband was standing next to me, she shook her head and said something about him ruining the aesthetic. Apparently her plan was to put one man and one woman next to each other alternately. My youngest sister, 18 female, who doesn't have a partner and was standing on the very side, offered to stand between the two of us so we could be close and Anne's wish would still be respected. I thought that was a great solution, but Anne disagreed and told Mark to get out of the picture. He's quite introverted and tries to avoid confrontation under all circumstances, so he simply complied and told me not to get angry, but it was obvious that he was hurt and disappointed by being left out. Obviously, it didn't stop me from getting angry, and I walked away with him. I can understand that Anne wants her wedding pictures to do exactly how she imagined them, but I think the idea that my youngest sister proposed was very reasonable. I congratulated Anne and her husband one last time, but then I said my goodbyes. When I was asked why we were leaving, especially before taking the pictures, I said that I didn't feel like our presence was wanted. We left before dinner was served and I took Mark out to his favourite restaurant to cheer him up a little. Anne has texted since saying that I was being over-dramatic and making a fuss over nothing. Our parents have tried to remain neutral, but except for my younger sister, the rest of the family supports Anne and thinks that leaving early was going too far and that I should have just sucked it up instead of ruining her big day. Edits, because there was some confusion. My husband is able-bodied and white, so is most of my family, but we are indeed a gay couple. This will not do comes straight in and says, "Not the arsehole. Has your sister always been shamelessly homophobic, or has the wedding brought out a new side of her?" Ben's bum says, "Not the arsehole. She expects you to celebrate her marriage while she disrespects yours. Good on you for respecting your husband." Wow, I've never gotten an award before. Thank you all for reminding me that, although there are serious arseholes in the world, they are not the majority. Peace and love. Aris Honeybadger says, "Not the arsehole," and quotes, "Anne wanted a picture with all of our siblings, and there's 5 of us and their respective partners, but Anne disagreed and told Mark to get out the picture, and then says Anne did not get the picture asked for. When you look back at the pictures, your husband's absence will be abundantly clear. Don't blame you for leaving." One more from Do I Want to Know, who says you stood up for your husband. He's your nuclear family. Your sister is an arsehole and the relatives who support her are enabling her behavior. Her excuse of not wanting your husband in the picture was perfectly solved by your younger sister. It's obvious she just didn't want your husband in the picture, because a picture with all her siblings with their partners would just not be complete without your husband of 7 years. Not the arsehole. Love the way you took your husband to dinner instead. Always the end of these stories where the family butts in and says you're being over dramatic and you're making a fuss and you ruined her big day. Like, no fucking way did he ruin her big day. She ruined it herself with her shitty ass behavior. What is it with weddings that brings out the absolute worst in people? Anyway, what do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Ah, bloody hell, just talk about weddings again. There's another post about a wedding straight below this one from a throwaway account that says, am I the arsehole for not letting my sister use the family property for her upcoming wedding? Oh boy. I am 25, my sister is 29. I have a younger sister, 8. When I was 14, my mum sent me to live with her parents. Her excuse was that they needed me to help out. I believe she just didn't want to deal with a growing male teen. My grandparents owned an amazing property in the mountains that has an amazing view. We also have some horses and other critters. They were also quite wealthy as well. They both passed 4 years ago, a month apart. They gave me the property because I would appreciate it and respect it more, while my mum and sisters got money and other assets, overall valued more than the property. In the past 4 years, I turned part of the property into a venue for mainly weddings. Grandparents knew of this idea and thought it was a good one. We are busy and usually booked about 8 months out. My sister got engaged 1.5 years ago and said she wasn't getting married at the property. My sister got engaged 1.5 years ago and said she wanted to get married at the property. I said yes, just let me know the date as soon as possible so I can make sure it is booked. I never got a date. I followed up several times and kept asking her, and she would brush me off. 2 weeks ago, I got the wedding invitation, stating the property location and the date, which is in September of this year. I immediately called her to say, we have booked for that date and can't accommodate her. Well, now her, my mum, other family, her partner's family, as well as other flying monkeys have been blowing up on me. They're also calling and writing reviews for my business. I asked them to stop and called my sister, telling her that literally all she had to do was tell me when she knew her date so I could block it and I would take care of everything else. She went off on how I'm ruining her day. It is our family's property. How she already sent out the invitations and couldn't go back now. I should just tell the other couple to cancel. They've been on the books for over a year now, and I actually like them. Family is more important. After the last big blow up, I started communicating strictly through the business, using our recorded line as well as an email. I suggested 3 other dates around the same time, but that's not good enough. I'm being resentful and an arsehole. Now, firstly, I'd say I'd look into talking to a legal professional about these reviews that you're receiving. If these reviews damage your business, they could find themselves in big trouble. And then I would just think about not hosting the wedding at all, even if they back down, because they're just being absolute entitled arseholes here. But Small Salty Bread says not the arsehole, but your sister is a giant arsehole for expecting you to cancel another couple's date for what? Selfish family. She needed to tell you the date and didn't. That's on her. Good Manufacturer says not the arsehole. I would suggest getting a lawyer involved before your family causes harm to your business. Send them all cease and desist letters. This is your property and business. Do not allow them to discredit it just because they're not getting their way. I'd also put a PSA out that her wedding will not be at your venue. That way a bunch of people don't show up and ruin this other lovely couple's wedding by causing a scene. One thing I've learned is you never mix family and business. Family will never respect your business because they feel entitled to it. So it's best to only offer family a small discount, but still make them go through all the proper channels, or don't get whatever service you provide. Mina says not the arsehole, but you will be if you cancel on the other couple who has patiently waited more than a year for their venue. Please do not ruin their day. And your sister is a big arsehole here. She is just misusing her privilege as your sister. You gave her plenty of chances to let you know the date and she still didn't, and didn't accept the alternative dates you offered. So she doesn't deserve this venue, and she probably printed the cards, so you'll be obliged to give her the date. OP adds to their post. They said, thank you for the overwhelming response. I thought I was going crazy. I tried to respond to people later when I have some time. Thank you for all the advice and responses. Wow, there's no possible way I can respond to everyone. I've been taking notes about what people are saying and will go through the process as I have time. Most likely Monday. I plan on getting in contact with a couple and see if I can take them to dinner or something to explain the situation. I'm thinking of giving them a discount, getting a guest list, and being tight on security on our part. Thanks everyone, and update 3 says I'm so blown away by the responses. This coming week is going to be busy. I probably won't update until most of everything is settled, but I'm going to reach out to the other couple, have a sit down with my sister as well as my mum. I have a meeting with a lawyer later this week. And finally, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to name my business for reasons. Thanks for the offers of writing good reviews, but I can't accept it. I like to earn everything I have or I'm given. I've made a lot of contacts in the business and I'm now having to call them to help me out. Just do me a favor. Be kind to everyone. Show love, compassion, and respect. And I certainly hope that you receive that from your family for the way they're treating you right now. But what do you guys make of this situation? What would you do if you was OP in it? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.